Hello and welcome to Creativity Time with Julia Major. Today we're going to be talking about phenomenal collage books. If that sounds fun to you, I hope you like and subscribe. Collage is one of my favorite mediums because it allows you to easily keep reworking things, changing the composition, also lets you bring in such diverse materials. And when I look at collages, I just love to see the visual texture. Visual texture is when something looks like it has a texture but doesn't. So most of these books, actually all of these books, initially came from collages, but then are photographs, so they no longer have that texture, but they initially did, and you can still see a sense of it. So the first book is Actual Size by Steve Jenkins. This is really cool to get a sense of dimensions and proportions. If you're an artist and you're ever wondering in a picture, how big is this thing, how small is that? Of course, as artists, we take creative liberties, but in this book, Steve Jenkins doesn't. Everything is the real size. And my favorite page in this is of a saltwater crocodile. So you can see he lives up to it. It's actual size. It doesn't mean that he always creates every character in full, because that would be very difficult. But what he shows is a real size of it, and it really has left me in awe the first time that I opened this book. It is a little difficult to open and close. I got this book secondhand, so it already had some issues with that. Difficult for a very small child, but they may still want to see someone older reading it. The next book is Eating the Alphabet by Lois Elhert. And what I love about her illustrations is this sort of watercolor quality that she has to the paper. It's not true of all of them, but it is in Eating the Alphabet. And it's just so suitable, I think, for a book on fruits and vegetables. You can see how she gives this watercolor effect to her leaves. It's really beautiful. And of course, we all could do with a little more fruits and vegetables in our life. The next book is I Am Not Sleepy and I Will Not Go to Bed by Lauren Child. Lauren Child has a really interesting backstory. She was trying to design lamps, and so she had fabric swatches, and that did not work out. And so she later became a picture book writer and illustrator. And even with that, she had to engage and persist, because initially a number of her books were rejected by publishers. They said that she needed to make certain changes to them. She tried to make those changes, and she felt like she was really losing her voice. And she only became more successful when she really tapped into what she wanted as an artist. She still advises that people take advice and listen to others, but that they should also think about what they want to express as an artist. And that's a balance we're always finding as artists. And I think that story is really interesting. I will link that interview below, as well as interviews with some of the other artists. You can see here her use of fabric swatches. And I love how much you can really see the act of coloring here with the crayon. It has a real sense of movement to it. If I was on the Caldecott Committee, which is, of course, the givers of the biggest award in picture books, and I was able to nominate a picture book for the Caldecott Award, I believe that I would pick this book. It is The Moon is Going to Addy's House by Pearle. And what I love about it is the beautiful sense of texture, as well as the pattern. She uses these marbleized papers as well as these origami papers that are just so beautiful and so colorful. And one thing that is especially impressive to me, that I don't know how she does, but she does, is her illustrations manage to be extremely simple and yet have so many details. It's really hard to create an image that's so crisp and yet has so many things that you can look at, and she manages to do it. Every time I'm just absolutely mesmerized by the marbleized paper. There's also a lot of movement. The whole story is about a little girl that is sensing the moon following her. So there's a lot of movement in the illustrations as well. I highly recommend it, and I can't wait to read more of her books. Last but not least, we have Dewey Bob. This book is not only about collage, it actually shows a step in the collage process, which is collecting interesting materials. I think that most artists are people who notice the little things that others don't and the beauty in them and like to collect little knickknacks, and Dewey Bob is all about that. The difference between a collage and an assemblage is assemblage has 3D elements, and oftentimes things live in between that land of collage and assemblage, and Dewey Bob is in that in-between place. Like the Steve Jenkins book, it has a fold-out page. Ooh. The story is well written and pulls your heartstrings. I won't give it away, but Dewey Bob in his collection is looking for something to fill his heart, and he does have some success at finding that. There's some really beautiful characters along the way, and I think raccoons are so cute, and I absolutely love buttons, so I'm a big fan of Dewey Bob. Thank you for coming to Creativity Time with Julia Major. I definitely plan to be making some other videos on other mediums used in illustration, because picture books are a great affordable way to look at a variety of art forms, especially in the way that the artist intended, because unlike a poster, they were intending these artworks to be printed. If you enjoyed this video, I hope that you share it with a friend. Thank you for coming to Creativity Time with Julia Major, and I hope you have a colorful day.